transfer for the Asian Dragon DBA Fortune Cookie Restaurant. We need Dennis for how you doing? When the secretary comes back, if you could state your name and address, please.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name is Peter Lim. I'm the attorney representing Ping and Zhao Inc. With me is Mr. Zhang Zhao. He and his wife are the principal owners of Ping and Zhao Inc. Tonight before the board, we're asking for the board to approve a transfer of the liquor license from Asian Dragon, doing business as Fortune Cookie, to Ping and Zhao Inc., doing business as Clinton Gourmet. My client is proposing to take over the restaurant currently situated at 1075 Main Street in Clinton. The hours of operation are Monday to Saturday from 11 to 10 p.m. and on Sunday from 11:30 to 10 o'clock p.m. In terms of experience, my client and his wife have been in the restaurant business since 1992, and my client's been working as bartender and bar manager at the Asia Grove restaurant in Woburn since 1995 to the present. So he's got a substantial number of years in the liquor industry, and he's also a certified food handler as well. My client is not proposing any change to the premises. There won't be any modifications, but perhaps a change in the menu. Serving similar styles of food as the predecessor, and hopefully doing a better job at it. I'll be happy to entertain any questions that the board may have.
Well, I'm going to open up to the public, this being a public hearing. Dennis, do you need to...
Does he need to be sworn in?
Not unless he's going to give him a testimony.
I don't believe he will be, correct?
Could you just raise the right hand? So do you swear that the testimony you're about to give this board should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to speak for? Is there anybody that would like to speak against this transfer? There being none, I'll close the public portion. Any questions from the board? Mark?
I have none.
Mary Rose?
No, I have none, Mr. Chair.
Steve? I have none. I have none. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we grant the transfer.
Second, Mr. Vice Chair.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. I have a common vitular license hearing for 1 through 7 High Street, DBA Brazil. Yes. If you could state your name and address for the secretary, please. Yes.
Matt Eisenberg.
You're here. What is it, Joe? So they didn't have a common vitular? Transfer. Okay, we have a transfer of ownership. Could you give us some idea what's going to happen at the establishment?
Transferência.
No, because I don't understand very good. Understand me? I don't understand very good. I buy the store, but And my first stop in America,
Okay.
but the different Brazil, very different.
Are the hours going to stay the same? Is the product going to stay the same?
Tem as
As the store
produções
is.
iguais, assim.
Oh yes, não modifiquei nada na loja, continua as mesmas
There's
coisas.
nothing different, the same.
Nothing's going to change.
Não vai mudar nada na loja, não, né?
Não, tem só pagamento de
Não, você vai
luz.
mudar.
Peraí,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Ah,
I missed the very beginning of this, and I
É
apologize.
pagamento de luz.
She told him to open where there was already a business?
Yes, it's a transfer.
Where though? I mean, is that the one over by Postville, Postville? Where?
Yes.
Okay.
Fala com ele que acrescentou só pagamento de
Oh,
luz.
she only put a payment bill. Payment bill. Like to pay bill.
I'm sorry.
She put payment bill in the store.
Before no have payment bills. I have now payment bills. Okay.
Is there any,
I have one question. The hours are gonna stay the same? You think?
As horas vão ficar iguais.
9 in the morning to 10 p.m., correct? The
Vai ficar
hours.
isso?
The 9 the morning, the 10 the night.
Okay, great, thank you.
7 days, Monday through?
Every day.
Every day. Any other questions? It's a pleasure of the board.
I'll so move.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
A motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, common victular license hearing for 329 Brook Street, Shirley McCartan, DBA CVS Pharmacy. Is there anybody here representing CVS?
No, that's just one of the catch-up ones that we've been finding that current establishments aren't on file, so we just kind of clean up all of it.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Maple Street residents. Maple Street residents with a petition?
This is an original.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Ring.
Mr. Ring, could you give us an idea of why you're before the board tonight?
Contained in the packages is a petition what myself and a few of the neighbors have discovered recently is that the traffic on our street has been escalating and they seem to be quite comfortable at doing excessive speeds on our street, especially when the train is stopping traffic on Sterling Street. They use that as a cutoff to cut off down Maple Street to Washington and continue on their commute. I have 4 children. There's another 12 or 13 children on the street besides mine. And being a short, small street that's quite congested at times, although we don't condone our children playing in the street, that's not what we're here for, but it's for their safety when crossing the street and such that these vehicles are doing excessive speeds. And what we proposed was that we change it to a one-way in the direction in the handout that I gave you there, going from Washington up to Sterling Street in order to slow down the race through traffic due to the train or cutting through there. The petition was signed by somebody from every residence on the street. When I had brought it around it was accepted as a very good idea. Several really excited people on the street as being an answer to our problem.
This being the first time since I've been on the board, that someone was asked to make a street one way, I'm going to ask our administrator what the procedure would be. Mike, what's the procedure on something like this? Do we go to the...
Yeah, what I would suggest is that the selectmen accept the petition and forward to the traffic committee for their research and review and recommendation. That would have a member of the police department, the police chief, fire chief, Department of Public Works superintendent, chairman of the board of selectmen, and a citizen. Mr. Paul Lowe is chairman of that committee. He's the citizen on the committee. What they will do is they will look at the street, look at your request. The police department can look at histories of problems there, and then they will come up with a recommendation to the selectmen, and then this issue will come back to the board for any action at that point. So.
I have a question. Have you contacted the police department about the traffic?
We have a policeman living on the street that has, on more than one occasion, stopped people from going down at unexcessive speeds. We haven't brought it up as an issue to have it staked out or radar gunned on the street, but it has been an apparent issue that to us, neighbors of the street, we see people cutting through that aren't residents of the street going excessive speeds.
There's a primary concern of the safety of the children. This being a normal monster playing in the streets. The people flying up and down that road constantly. Most of them don't live in our neighborhood, just cutting across from Brook to Sterling, or vice versa.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would move that, and I've been down that street many, many times, and it's a very narrow, congested street. I would concur with you. I would move that we send this to the traffic committee, as the administrator said, to have on their next agenda, and hopefully that they would go down as normally what they do and take a look and personally observe and then come back and make a recommendation. So I'll move.
Is there a second?
A second, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor?
Just under discussion.
Sorry.
I agree with the gentleman here because I know it is a narrow street, like Selectman Dickout said. But I'm aware of, from other complaints I've received from people speeding down there recently. So I think it's something that, I would definitely support. Either we make it one way or we look into some other solution for that area down there. So I would be in support of that. And hopefully the traffic committee comes back with something positive we can work out. That's all.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, administrators report. Mike? Administrators?
Yes. Under some administrative business we have for today is Clinton Turner's requesting approval for one-day liquor license to hold outdoor events. They have several dates that they have scheduled some bookings for, and they're asking if the board would be willing to give them a one-day license for the dates that are listed in the board's packet. It's May 17th, 18th, 25th, 26th, June 1st, 8th, 15th, 30th, August 10th, and September 15th. So
It's a pleasure of the board.
Also move.
Second that.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is a request from the Clinton Post Veterans of Foreign Wars for permission to sell VFW buddy puppies in the town of Clinton during the week of May 19th through 25th to raise funds for their organization and for disabled veterans.
Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I so move on that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next is a request from Veterans Agent Christopher Dezek for approval of a Finance Committee Reserve Fund transfer in the amount of $2,905 to be used to pay veterans benefits for 2 individuals for the remainder of the fiscal year. Just some explanation. This line item in the Veterans Department budget has been much higher in the past due to a reduced caseload. They weren't using all the money, so the Finance Committee cut the account with the understanding that if they did have new cases, that they would support transfer from the reserve fund. So if the selectmen approve this, it will be submitted for the Finance Committee for their review as well for the funds.
Mr. Chairman, also move on that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike,
Thank
did
you.
you want to go into all the new business?
Sure, yeah. The next item is two items, we'll take them separately, is a request from Massachusetts Electric for an easement to grant them permission to install lines and a new pad mount transformer on the property of the current Clinton Elementary School at the corner of School Street and Church Street. So they're just looking for the selectmen to sign off on that easement agreement to allow them to put in new lines. It's going to be all underground.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the next is a similar request for an easement agreement to put in a new pad mount transformer on the property of the proposed Clinton Water Treatment Facility on West Boylston Street. Again, all the lines will be underground servicing that facility.
Pleasure of the board.
Also move on that.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is just maybe Mr. Elworthy.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we,
For the next several items, I think.
I'll move that we adjourn until the chairman can join us.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
How long is it adjourned?
I don't think he planned on being too much longer.
No, I think he's been in there for almost 20 minutes, and he indicated it probably would only be 15, so hopefully he's pretty much, probably 10 minutes.
10-minute adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Did you? under our old new business.
We got this far into the easements, Matt, on Mass Electric.
Okay. Oh, so you guys went through Maple Street, you went through annual town meeting?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
We deferred that. We got administrator's report, and we just did the 2 easements for Mass Electric.
Okay.
And we stopped. So we're,
Yeah, we did Maple Street, we're sending it to the traffic.
Okay.
and it's on the front, and there's stuff in here. Very beginning.
This is Steve's stuff.
Oh,
Is it?
Steve.
Let me put it-
Okay, you want to just... It's just getting low instead of sitting on it.
Okay. Okay, and this is under old and new? Okay, so under old, we have water department. Has completed the round of water meter reading throughout the town of Clinton. Superintendent oh, hey Bill, you're here. I'll let you speak on your own behalf.
All right. Basically, what I'm to come in front of you as the water commissioners and request that we do a second billing for the town. It's in the same order as far as our current readings, and they've always been in May and November. We did our reading for May just a few weeks ago. What I'd like to do is expedite the billing and the computer work and get those bills out as quickly as possible. Typically what's been done in the past, and we're trying to streamline that, is the reading gets done in May, but those bills don't actually go out until August. And then November's reading doesn't go out until February sometime. It's usually a 6-month delay. What I'd like to do, based on the current deficit situation with the water department and the increase in rates so we can make things whole as far as next year goes, would be to expedite those bills. Our May reads would go out end of May, beginning of June. That way we can collect the necessary revenue in the 2002 fiscal year. And then next year, starting in May, where we just read, the new rates would kick in, and we'd probably read those somewhere around August or November in that time frame for next year. That way we'd have 2 readings next year on our full increased water rates, and this year, all the way through the end of fiscal 2002, would be at the old rates. So no one would be charged for water they used before the judgment was that we were going to raise the rates. So it would be,
So this April's reading is under the old rate?
It would be under the old rates. It would go from November of last year all the way till May of this year
So the next reading will be in November?
at the new rates,
At the new
going
rates.
from May this
Yep,
year, after
yep.
the rates were set, through November.
And they'd get those bills when in December, the November reading?
I'd hope to streamline as soon as we read. It
Get
does
them out.
take some computer work and some paperwork to get done, but I'd like to get those bills out within a month. I think
About a
that's
3 to 4 week differential from the reading to the sending out of the bills?
right.
Okay.
That way, there's no confusion when you get your bill and say, wait a second, that was
Right.
really
Right.
last year's bill.
Okay.
It's similar to what this request is here, they would like to get on this schedule.
Right.
As soon as they're read, the department can finalize them and get them in the mail and start their revenue.
Yeah, it's really not a change in schedule, it's just a matter of being more efficient in getting the bills.
That's true, and the only problem would be is we'd have two fairly close bills, because we did one in February and there'd be another one now. It's really no change as far as the year goes of what you'd pay for water, but those bills come, fairly close together. That's the only
Sooner,
concern.
basically.
Excuse me?
You're paying it sooner, basically.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I thought we looked at a quarterly rate, quarterly billing process.
But that's not even,
This would be-
we're not talking about changing the bill right now, you just want to be able to expedite the,
Right. That's a no-brainer.
What I'm trying to do, the basic goal is to keep 2002 and 2002, and 2003 fiscal year and 2003 fiscal year.
it's the pleasure of the board.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just wanted a clarification that with the board, that they were comfortable that this bill would be under the old rate.
Yeah.
The next one would be under this. That's kind of what the direction we're looking for.
Mr. Chairman, I also move that we give an okay to the superintendent to go ahead and expedite the bills as soon as possible.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. The committee reports see you later, or?
After, yeah.
Okay.
We'll have you up and back. Pick a ping pong ball.
Get my
Back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, John, if you'd like to come forward from the Clinton Fire Department. Captain McNamara. How are you this fine evening, sir?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mayor Rose, Mark, Steve, Dino, John McNamara, 7 Highland Ave, Clinton. Treasurer of the Clinton Firefighters Local. President Dennis Parker's out of town. He's in New York City. He asked me to stop by, get some free airtime, and put our pitch before the honorable board regarding our annual fireworks display, which once again this year will be held at the Clinton Middle School grounds. It's going to be held on Saturday, July 6th at dusk. Presently, we're working with the state rep to try to secure the MDC ban, but we're not sure if that's going to be available due to the budget cuts throughout the state. We do have the MDC's approval for the site as far as the launching of the fireworks. We've been before the school committee to get their approval to once again use their grounds, and they gave us their wholehearted support. So in cooperation with the Clinton Police and School Departments and in cooperation with the Board of Selectmen, we'd like to get your okay to start a direct mailing campaign to the residents of the community as well as the business community. In the past, we've had telemarketers do our fundraising. Well, we had some couple of tough years with the business practices they employed, and we weren't too happy with the results. Money-wise, yes, but not. A lot of bad will was created, and we didn't like it. So this year, we're only going to do a direct mailing campaign to all the known supporters of the past, both to the business and the residential community. We may have to, after the initial 3 or 4 weeks of finding out what the kind of funds are raised for that, in that purpose, might have to do a boot drive. And at that time, we would want your support to, go before the banks and the supermarkets and conduct a boot drive, which I believe that you've done in the past. You've okay for the Little League tag days and so on and so forth. We wouldn't know that until we get the results of the direct mail campaign, which hopefully is going to start this weekend. The people should start getting letters Saturday or Monday or Tuesday at the latest. So after 3 weeks of that, we would know if, in fact, we're going to need a boot drive. And if, in fact, the boot drive is needed, we'll do it, and then we would have a spaghetti supper at the Talk of the Town in late June. It cost well over $9,000 last year to put the event on. We always had a concession stand where we made a significant amount of money that evening. However, last year, we took a kiss because of the fact all these outside vendors showed up, and they were parked directly outside the middle school, and we were inside the field itself. That's where our concession stand was. So by the time all the people get inside, the children had already had their popcorn and their candy and their, whatever. So we're not going to do a concession stand this year. However, there's 2 or 3 different organizations in the school department. The PTA wants to have some type of a booth, which is fine. It's their property. I told them as long as they, courtesy run it through the school committee and the superintendent, we have no qualms with anybody from the school department or any town organization wants to set up a booth. That's more power to them. So we know the class of 2003 has approached us. They're thinking of doing a concession stand. The class of 2004 wants to sell some beach balls. And the PTA called today that they want to have glow sticks and glow necklaces for sale. So that's the only thing that we're aware of. Once again, we know there's going to be outside vendors showing up. I don't know how we can control them. I have no idea. if in fact you could put a fee on them and then take the fee and at least put it towards the town coffers or your
You
civic
should have
account
to
or
have
something like that, you
A
know?
day license for selling in town. If they don't have a day license to sell, we should be able to police them out of town.
You know, there should be some type of a fee set up so that, you know, you could charge them 100. Like, we did have 2 vendors out of the, probably, there was 7 or 8 there that legitimately gave us 10% of their earnings, you know. Oh, that's what they told us, but it was better than nothing, you know?
Right.
Seriously, I mean, it's better than the kick in the pants. But, so I just want to let the people know that we will be directing a direct mail campaign. There will be no telemarketers. Anybody that calls you is not authorized through the local to be soliciting funds. It's only going to be through a mailing campaign. Or if you see us out dressed up with our boots and coats and helmets with a boot in our hand, you know we're looking for money. But that won't be until middle of June or late June.
So John, if people don't receive a mail piece because they haven't contributed in the past, can they drop funds off at the station?
Absolutely. Anybody that doesn't get a piece of mail from us, we were only mailing to the known past supporters,
Right.
you know. And they weren't good at record keeping, so we're only going by the records that the telemarketers gave us. Yes, they could either drop off a donation to the fire department, but it has to be made out to the Clinton firefighters local,
Yeah.
or throw in the mail to 555 Main Street in Clinton. Attention to the Clinton Fireworks Committee.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, I know in the past, I think, John, we have donated something to the
Yeah, in the past, the town has been very generous to us and helped pay the most of our police detail. However, we've worked, that's why I'm saying, in cooperation with Clinton Police Department, meeting with the chief and the lieutenant, we've come up with a situation there where they're going to be able to help us out. And we're not going to be facing the significant costs we faced over the past year, or last year, I should say. If we did look for a donation from the Civic Fund, we'd be looking anywhere in the vicinity of $500. And where
That's
years
right.
past, you gave us $1,500. I know times are tough,
Yeah.
and
Mr.
certainly.
Chairman, John, be quiet for a minute.
Okay, if you're going to talk money, I'll be quiet.
I'm trying to help you out here.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to ask the administrator if we are close to the end of the fiscal year, and if we had anything left in the civic fund.
We do, and I'll have the amount right off, but we would be able to afford the money now. July 1, we would have a new budget, so it would be either this year's money or next year's money. So we can determine that, but I'm pretty sure that there's a balance in there that could cover a donation.
Donation of, if I moved 1,000.
I think so, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, then if there is adequate money there, then I would move that the Board of Selectmen, on behalf of the town of Clinton, donate $1,000 to the fireworks for this coming July 6th. This is an event that thousands of people in our community appreciate and enjoy, and so I think it's certainly appropriate.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, I thank you very much.
Great job, so.
I really didn't come here looking for money from you people, but I'm certainly not going to turn it down. I thank you very much. But it does
I've never seen you turn it
It does set a good example for the community, and like I say, in cooperation with the Board of Selectmen, the Clinton School Department, the Clinton Police Department, this is a town effort. It's a team effort, you know. We
It's
just
led
take,
by a group of
Absolutely.
very dedicated guys.
we do thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
I have a
Thank you,
question,
John.
Well, a comment. Make sure you give all the information to the press, like the local number and whoever they need to make the checks out to. so
Very
it
good.
goes out to the
I
people.
did provide them the night we were at the school committee meeting, I did provide them with a copy, and I believe the night that we were canceled due to Mark's illness, that I provided them, but I can also see that they got another copy.
And I'd like to thank you for your concern for the citizens of the town by avoiding the telemarketer that you had problems with.
Yeah, that's an issue we gotta get away
Well,
from. Thank you very much, I
You're doing
appreciate
it
it.
the right way. So.
Yeah. I think we'll be supported, and I know times are tough for the people, so, you know, if you can afford to send us something, if you can, do it. If you can't, we understand.
Well,
Thank you very much.
hopefully, John, this will jumpstart your campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, and all we're in good shape. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Take care, John.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda was the economic director. Could be a long year.
Yeah, one night. It's a hot west wind tonight, too.
I know, furious. Okay, economic director, Don Lowe, if you'd like to come forward, we're talking about the NAPRO. The TIF agreement?
No, that's going to be executive session, I believe.
Is it? That was done.
You need to go into executive?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would suggest we do, just in case there are any questions on behalf of the board before you take a vote, based on what I put into your packet.
Okay. It'll
Should
be a
be,
brief.
I would think it would be very brief.
Or do you want to
We just said
leave that
Yeah,
at the end?
we'll make you wait with us for a while.
Okay.
Rather than, it's been a herky-jerky meeting tonight, so.
We'll make you
Well, I
early
enjoy
call.
your company, Mr. Chairman.
We
so-
enjoy yours, Don. Next up, under old and new, boards and commissions, reappointments, applications were sent to individuals. On boards and commissions whose terms were up, current members are interested in reappointment, however, there was no response from the ZBA. There have been 2 letters of interest to serve, one from Andrea Duggan and Robert Kilgus, I believe it is, Kilgus. Is there a,
Well,
what's the
Mr.
pleasure of the
Chairman,
board?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Andrea Duggan to the ZBA.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Under discussion, I know Andrea, she's a great individual
Absolutely.
from a great family and has a good legal background, which will help, I think, the board with some of their decisions. So, any other discsion? Being
Just
none-
under
yeah.
discussion, I'd just like to thank Mark Russell for his past.
Yes,
service.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark.
He steered a ship through a lot of difficult years, so we do appreciate Mark's commitment to the town. Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Andrea Duggan of 250 Greeley Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Also, we have we also have Tina Zapanthis of 37 Lane has submitted a letter to serve on the Town Hall Building Committee. A nice person, has a pretty good husband.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Actually, Tina's been extremely
Absolutely.
dedicated to the town, both in the 150th and in the old
Old Home Day.
Old Home Day and
Serves
things
on
like
that
that.
committee,
So
yep.
what's the pleasure of the board regarding Tina's appointment?
Also move. Mr.
Second, Mr.
Chairman.
Chairman.
Any further discussion? Dino, you want to add any?
No,
Don't be careful.
I'm sure she'll do a great job,
Okay,
and I'm going to abstain.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And
One abstention. Thank you.
Just for the board's information, there is anticipated there'll be one more zoning board
Right.
opening at the end of the month. There's one member that will be leaving state, moving out of state. So after their May meeting, there'll be a letter coming in of resignation. So there will be another appointment probably in about a month or so.
Oh,
At
We
that
have-
point,
Chairman,
we could appoint
could we just-
Robert at that time.
or could we do it
Pending.
now, pending the resignation of the sitting member?
I would recommend that you
Wait.
do
Wait.
it once we get the resignation.
Okay.
So if we can hold Robert's letter of intent, and then we can... Okay, committee reports.
Mr. Chairman, so
Yeah.
just under old and new business.
Yeah.
With the Memorial Day Parade coming up, and I know High Street, we don't have the flags up yet. There's a question that we haven't purchased them yet, so I'd hate to go after the Civic Fund again, but I think that's the only area we could probably get the money from. So I'd like to make a motion that we take the amount not to exceed $500 from the Civic account for flags for High Street for the Memorial Day Parade. That would be my motion.
I'll
There's
second that.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's going to install them?
DPW? Or-
Fire and police did it
Yeah,
last
fire
night.
and police were actually helped take them down. They've been up there since the 150th parade, and they were pretty tattered, as the selectman was indicating. But the police and fire had taken them down, so I think they'd be more than willing to put them back up again if we have them renewed.
Maybe we can set up some sort of policy where we, put them up in May, take them down in October before the inclement
Yeah.
weather comes, so we save the life of the flags. That's something we can look into.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Committee reports. Don, you could be here a long time.
Been good.
You got me there on time. Go ahead, Bill.
All right,
Water filtration plant
Water
committee?
filtration plan, as far as committee reports go, we have a change order from Methuen Construction. Essentially, this change order is long overdue. It wraps up the 4-foot diameter drainage pipe that was put in, some of the unsuitable material work that was done, and then South Main Street, those were lump sum, not lump sum, they were unit price jobs as far as laying the water line. Part of the unit price was if they had to go below a certain depth of excavation, I believe it was 11 feet, the cost increased if they had to go deeper than 11 feet. That happened on a few occasions, I think probably 30 to 50 feet of the excavation, plus the sewer line was not where they anticipated it. It meandered through the street. Where the sewer line came close to the water line, they had to sleeve it per DEP requirements. The total of that change order has been through the water committee, looked at and approved by the water committee. The total for this change is $78,132.
78, what was that? Bill?
$78,132. It's project change order number 3 of the project. These are the originals, if you want to make a copy.
Yeah, I could run some more copies for the board. Are these two?
There's the 30 right there.
Okay.
There's the originals that need to be signed. We can make copies.
Oh, okay.
Also with that change, this is the construction side of the change order. There is also a change order, it's not an official one yet, but I wanted to give you a heads up as far as the engineering costs related to those same items. Mostly the engineering costs come through the engineering and evaluation of the sanitary sewer due to the unsuitable soils. These aren't new issues, they were from basically the excavation in the fall where we did find the unsuitable materials. It's just getting wrapped up into a change order. Probably should have been done earlier. I've actually had that discussion with the engineers that we wrap these things up sooner. Actually, I already copied that, Mike.
Okay, the pleasure of the board on the change order.
I'll make a motion to grant the change order number 3.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I will, I'm giving you
The other change order you said is pending?
It's not an official document yet.
Okay.
Mike is making copies. You'll have that to review when the time comes to make that change order. That will be through the engineering side.
Okay.
That's where we stand.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just to, seeing Bill is sitting here, very often, I think we don't get an opportunity to thank some of our department heads, and certainly Bill has, I think, gone beyond as superintendent of public works with this water filtration project that's going on, which I know has been all-consuming, and I know that Dennis has put a lot of time, and the administrator, and I'd just like to thank you, Bill. I know this has been a lot added to your plate, and you're doing a heck of a good job at it, so thank
I
you.
appreciate that. It's been difficult, but we're gonna get through it.
Bill, consider that like an official pat on the back.
That's as good as they get.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Anything else in regards to the filtration?
I do have other updates. I will refer to Dennis as far as an executive session to do that. All right, so probably after, maybe before dawn?
Before then.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, where the heck are we in this? Is that where we're at? Under old and new, in regards to excess property, the excess property, Dennis, Have we set a date on that? To have, for the auctions?
No, not yet.
Is there a what kind of timeline? We're looking at, I had met while I was out, I was with the Finance Committee, and we're hoping to look at those properties as potential revenue for this coming year's fiscal budget.
I spoke with Mike earlier today. What my plan is to hopefully auction them off this summer and have the closing occur 30 days thereafter, so I'm hoping to see the revenue come in early fall. But definitely it will be within the next fiscal year budget, so you can count it towards that. Obviously, I can't guarantee you the amounts that will come in, but certainly the board is aware of the minimum bids that you've set, and
Yeah.
several of the properties I'm confident will exceed that. There's been a lot of interest from calls that I've been receiving in that regard, and I'm also going to send out some notices to some abutters in the area to spark some interest there also.
Can we have the auction prior to June 30th, or is it not time?
Probably not June 30th of 2002?
Yes.
Probably not, no.
And we wouldn't want that, because if the
You want
money
it-
came in by June 30th, it would have to stay in this fiscal year instead of next fiscal year.
Yeah, but your closings wouldn't occur on the properties until the following year. I'm just concerned, well, our town meeting's going to be prior to that anyhow, so.
Right.
I just want us to be as conservative but as confident as we can with whatever money we can extract from that to use towards a balancing the budget would be helpful, so. Okay. That was under clarification of some old business that we've been talking about. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other committee reports? I'll give you okay, we skipped over that. An update on the elementary school building for the board. Progress continues to be made on the building, and the contract is still holding to a November turnover date or substantial completion date. We still have some level of skepticism on that date, but the quality of work is very, very good, and people that are in the know as far as the engineering and contracting background are very happy with the level of work that's been going on down there. It's starting to take some nice shape. So, and it's currently on budget or slightly under budget, which is a good thing. So that's an update on the school building. We can move to the warrant article that we went out of order. We can move back to the annual town meeting warrant.
Mr. Chairman, this will just be a very preliminary
Yeah.
read-through, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it'll probably be a joint meeting with the state. Yeah.
Yeah, so Article 8 is incorrect. We don't have it to be a move.
Right. Well, is this just open for discussion?
Yeah,
Mr.
this is
Chairman?
completely open for discussion.
Okay. Well, on Article 8, Mr. Chairman, I thought that when we first talked about the police cruisers, as Article 8 now appears, it's $71,000 for 3 cruisers, and either be raised, appropriate, or borrowed from the stabilization fund. I thought that being creative, we were going to try to use or change an article, in the wording in an article, that there was money left over from the police station addition, that we moved to draft an article that would allow us to bring it to the voters to expend that money towards at least 2 of the cruisers.
Right. Yep, that funding source can be added in there. Yeah, the article just needed direction from the selectmen on what the amount would be, as to how many.
So the things that would change in Article 8 would be, it would not be a raise and appropriate or borrow. It would be a transfer, and it would be for the sum of $49,000, and it would be for 2 cruisers, not 3.
How much left in the building fund left over?
I'm not
Yeah,
saying that
there's
it would be.
$49,700.
I don't think they can afford 3 at that amount. I think
No,
he
but
said
I'm
he
just-
could get 2.
Yeah, but I don't know if the
So
board
it's
is
49
against
too, left
going
over?
to 3. All I'm saying is that,
49,702.
that I thought that at least 2 would come from here.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to 3, I'm just saying that at least 2 could be done through that
Right.
that article with unused money.
The whole,
I mean, I don't know if the board's feeling is to go 3, but I'm just saying that I think that that's a mechanism to at least use that unused money for 2 at least.
I think being creative in the way we expend to get capital equipment is great, because based on where we are with the budget, even with level funding, we're not, we can't take from a stabilization, and if it's a raise and appropriate, that's back on the tax burden.
Right.
So I'd rather stay with 2. I think we can get 2 for the 49.7. But a third one would end up being either a raise and appropriate or a borrow.
Or stabilization.
Or stabilization, which is just, is unstable at this point in time.
I don't want to touch that myself.
So, call him like I see him. It's not the appropriate level for stabilization.
Well, that would be, I guess I would move then, Mr. Chairman, that we change the article to read that we would request the voters to use the funding from the unused money from the police station.
So would the article actually read a transfer from account number 4200 Police Restoration Fund?
exactly. Probably what we would read would be to transfer from Article X of X town meeting, and the sum of blah, 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 to, from the police renovation account to purchase the cruisers, 2 new cruisers or whatever it may be. It's 49,007. So that 49,700 would actually be the figure if that's what you just wanted to use that source.
Is that amount enough to buy 2 cruisers?
I believe it's around 26,000 per, so
it's not
it would
bad.
probably be a couple thousand short, but I know in the past the chief has used some of his law enforcement funds or grant funds. I don't want to speak for him, but it would be probably a little bit short.
Well, if you took 25 3 times, that would be 75, and he's talking
Right.
3 at 71. So
Right,
it would
yeah.
certainly-
I thought he could get him.
26.5.
Can get him.
I thought 26, yeah.
26,
But I
so
think
he'd
he's
be,
got
So he's
71.
close.
He's got 71 for 3, so
Right.
it seemed that 49 would be adequate for 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go
That's
along with
all
that if he
I'm
can do the
going
2 for
by.
49. I don't know, if he's
Yeah.
short, I don't know where he's gonna get the other money from.
Right.
You
I
know
don't want
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
taxpayer on the taxpayer.
Right,
right.
If you can get it from this fund, that's fine.
If he can cover it with the 49,702, that's fine by me. But I wouldn't want to see us
Right.
going anywhere else trying to get the money.
Anyways, that's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
So just under discussion, we're going to reword this whole article?
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
So we're not technically approving it, we're just giving direction to reword it at this point in time. And we'll
That's
can
fine.
approve them all as we make edits.
Right.
So the article would be 49,700
Mhm.
for the purchase of 2 cruisers from the police renovation account.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, sounds
And
good.
Mr. Chairman, under Article 9, I would also suggest that under, which is an article for $34,000 to defray the cost of performing a statewide mandate reevaluation for fiscal year, it says 2002, but I think it's just the opposite, 2003, but I would suggest that we use that from golf course feasibility study that has the amount of $34,722.40. That we
So-
be again somewhat creative, that it isn't anything that we have to take from the stabilization fund
Or
raise
raise
and
it.
appropriate,
Yep.
but that it's money that's sitting in an account that we could use to satisfy the commitment for the assessors. So we accomplish 2 things. We'll afford them the opportunity to do that, which obviously is crucial to us, as the assessors presented to us a couple of weeks ago. And it's money that's just sitting there unused from an article that was approved several years ago by the group. So that would be my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Again, on the discussion, this is another way of taking care of a need that the Board of Assessors has without being a raise and appropriate or a transfer from stabilization. It's encumbered funds, it's funds that have been already appropriated by the town and covered in past year's budgets, basically. And so we had the money in reserve to be used, if so willing by the town, to take care of this cost. All in favor?
Just on the discussion, and just so the board, as the board would know, when the board brought up the issue about using the police addition money, we went back to look as if there were any other articles, and there is one outstanding, which was approved several years ago, which was going to be used to do a feasibility study of putting a golf course at the Weeki Reservoir, as the chairman indicated, but the prior boards did not.
Right, that's what we just made a motion to change.
Exactly, yeah.
So this isn't the police, this is the feasibility study.
Right,
So we're taking that money that was appropriated.
Right, yeah, exactly. I was just explaining how we came up with that number, where that came from.
Okay.
Just so people would be aware of where that number originated from.
I thought you just had like a light go on. I'm like, hey, yikes.
He hasn't been getting that.
It happens, new baby.
I just wanted to, again, just to clarify where that didn't come out of the blue, that in review of looking at the police addition money of how much was there, we just wanted to see if there was any other monies, and we came across this other article that had been outstanding for a number of years, so.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay.
So motion's been made, seconded, discussed several times. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One of these are just basic.
Citizens petitions and stuff. Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the board review the rest of them, and then that we finalize it at our next meeting.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah, because some of these we may not have to.
Right.
There were two other articles for the board to consider. One would be a easement article, which I just got late this afternoon. I got some information on. Last year, we were looking to go to town meeting with an article to swap easements between the town of Clinton and New England Power Company up at the middle school and the ball fields property. Back when the middle school was built, apparently the middle school encroached on an easement that the New England Power had to put power lines to that property, and then the power company installed poles and wires on town of Clinton land. So for the past 30 years, they've been on our land, we've been on theirs. So when part of the agreement with the power company, when they moved, they straightened out the power lines to go across the ball field to get a straight shot, which would conserve more of the land for recreation use. There was an agreement that we would then clean up this old legal matter of swapping the easements. So now, our school is on our property, and then their poles are on their property. Last town meeting, New England Power Legal Department wasn't able to get all the information to us in time for last town meeting, and they just faxed me this stuff about 5 o'clock this evening. So if the board is willing to consider putting that article on, sponsored by the board, to clean that up, it would clean up a 30-year-old problem. And
Also
make a
move
lot
it,
of
Mr.
people
Chairman.
happy.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Again, we can, we're in a position now if we can take some of these articles off or add outside of citizen petitions.
Right. Exactly.
So tonight, we're not acting on the articles themselves.
That's up to the board, yeah.
Yeah, we're not, I think everyone needs to, we can, but I know I've got a legal question on 1, 2, that I'd like clarification on.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
Whether it be town moderator or town solicitor on Article 18.
Okay.
in regarding amending that,
Right.
how that is done. Article 17, I don't have a copy of that in our packet. I'd like to see that, but I have serious concerns about that article. Whereby Article 18 is on, but Article 17, I'd have trouble supporting without really understanding the bylaw change that's so proposed. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like a little more time on that.
And one other item as well, that's just come up recently. On Thursday of last week, the legislature passed a early retirement provision for town employees. Last year, they passed one early retirement incentive for teachers. This year, they passed the early retirement incentive for town employees. With the way the law reads, it's on the governor's desk. I know as of Monday, and again, yesterday I was in a meeting down in Boston all day, but as of Monday, it had not been signed by the governor. Once it's signed into law, towns would have to accept it at a town meeting, or in order to facilitate this issue, and a town meeting has already transpired prior to the bill going into effect, it could fall back to the Board of Selectmen to make the decision on whether to implement the option to have an early retirement incentive program. There are a lot of provisions to it. You can limit the number of employees. What it essentially would do is add years to an employee based on age and the time of service. You can add years to their retirement to get them to their max or to an appropriate level where they would be able to retire. But you can limit the number of employees, you can limit the number of years you're going to give them, you can limit the number, the groups that get it.
But Michael, to put that on now, we don't have the financial impact of all of the different options to actually put it on this town meeting and do our duty as a board and put it on as an article without being able to articulate back to the community all of the financial impacts that could occur. It may end up not being a cost savings, but an expense to the community.
Right, there are two things. One is the program is there to give an incentive to a trick position, perhaps, or maybe hire another employee at a substantial lower salary if you have a grid where a long-term employee has risen to the top steps. However, there are essential employees that would have to be replaced so that there wouldn't be a savings on attrition.
And you'd have buybacks.
And the other issue is the buybacks, is when people retire, there are sick time bank buybacks and other incentives that they have at retirement, which are lump sum cash payments that they get going out the door. With the number of employees retiring, that cost could add up. That would have to be appropriated money that would have to come up as part of this process.
So it could end up causing us to be in more of a deficit than helping us. So unless we really had a firm grasp on the financial impact and the employees that would affect, I'd be uncomfortable adding that as an article until we had a complete understanding of what the complete economic impact to the town would be, factoring in buybacks by potential retirees that would take advantage of it.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'd be uncomfortable prior to this town meeting doing that, because I don't think we can get it all.
Sure, well, we can try and do it at least to get some basic information for the board as much as we can. The town accountant has run a potential list of employees that may be eligible, but again, until it's signed, we would get the final information from there. And then we can provide some analysis at that point.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, wait
Mr.
for the
Chairman, that
analysis.
If the accountant could supply us with something that's at least preliminary to see what kind of a financial impact, if we decided that we wanted to at least look into that, potential of, because from what I understand in the law, you can be selective as you want to.
You can limit the number of years, you
Right.
can limit the number of people, you can
Right.
limit the group that you're taking from. But the unknown factor that will take an actuarial study to determine is how much this will affect the town's assessment in future years. We can calculate the buybacks because we know who the people are and what kind of a buyback they're entitled to. But to find out what we'll be hit with on our actuarial study for the town assessment is a total unknown, and that would take some time, and we'd have to pay them to do that.
And that
It's going to be considered, if it's worth it. If it's not going to be considered, it's not going to be that exercise.
Yeah, that assessment is the, as we went through the budget earlier, at the end of the budget, the retirement board appropriation, which is the town's share that we pay into the retirement fund every year. The employees pay, and then the town has a share as well that we match. And that's the assessment that the town accountant is indicating, that is based on actuarial studies, so that each year, how much is needed to be put in there in order to fund the people that are retiring each year. So that would be affected as well.
Which would go up because you'd have
You
a
have
higher
less contribution
you'd
from
have,
those employees.
and you'd have a higher base of retired employees drawing.
Right. You have 5 more years of retirement for each of those people, plus 5 years less of them contributing to the system. So it's a double hit for all those people.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question though. By us not acting on this prior to town meeting, do we lose the chance to do it this year?
Absolutely not. No, then it would fall back solely to
It
the board
would
of
fall back,
selectmen.
even though we didn't take action to get it onto the warrant.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Would be in a better position of understanding the analysis.
Absolutely, I realize that, but I'm just saying, I don't want to lose that opportunity if the analysis comes up
Yeah,
favorable.
right.
That we can still enact that, that law.
Right, yeah. But then that would be up to the discretion of the board of selectmen
Okay.
to impact it at that time. So, thank you. So those are just 2 other issues that have just come up in the last couple of days that I thought would affect this discussion, so.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion to, since we are on the warrant, to advertise it once in the Clinton Courier?
Yeah, but we're not, we'll advertise once we're complete on the edits.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'm saying, now it seems like we've advertised every time into the item. I'd like to give the Courier one of those 3 required advertisement dates.
Is there a second?
A second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
I wasn't following that.
No, I understand.
So when we are completed, we'll advertise appropriately.
Now, Mr. Chairman, is the need, are we still going on the June 3rd date, or is that not a date
Well,
that's
that's
attainable?
something we need to discuss. So if the board is meeting next Wednesday, we would need a final warrant to go in the paper for Friday. Also, another issue, as we did last year, would be requesting the board to call a special town meeting prior to the annual for one article to transfer funds from line items into the finance reserve. We're going to have shortfalls in health insurance accounts and several other critical accounts that we're going to have shortfalls at the end of the year. So what we'd like to do, like we did last year, is have that 5-minute special town meeting, which would bring in money where departments won't be using money, say through retirement or funds that aren't going to be used, dump that into the finance reserve so then they can reallocate it to these other items. However, a special town meeting needs 2 weeks advertising. So if we're going to do June 3rd, we would need to put that article, it would only be a 1 article just saying, to authorize the transfer of funds into the finance reserve fund. Same exact wording that we had last year.
You need to
That
do
would
it
have to
by
be in this
Friday?
Right, and then the other ones.
I think
Chairman, I would move that we
moved the
back.
town meeting date,
June
entertain a
10th.
motion to the 10th.
I'll so move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Second. Because I don't feel at this time that the Finance Committee is ready for June 3rd date, and we're not ready. I don't think, based on just on the warrants, the articles that we have to deal with and discuss and read over. I think June 10th would be more appropriate.
Good.
So that gives you, what, next Friday for the 10th?
Right, yeah, so we can have that special town meeting warrant, work with the account to identify the amount that we're looking for, and then we can present that to the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gives everybody a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll tentatively set the date for June 10th. And for town meeting with a special town meeting to precede. So at 7 o'clock, we'll have the special town meeting, and at 7:05, the regular town meeting. Where are we now? Public comment? Is there any other discussion regarding the current proposed list of our articles? Dean? No. Stephen? No? Okay. So we'll take this back up next week and act upon it based on the edits that are made. Mike will act on the warrant next Wednesday.
Right.
With the revised version reflecting the edits that we requested on Articles 8 and 9.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
I thought we were going to have an article regarding the cemetery and a truck.
No, that was all done. It doesn't-
Okay, never mind. Okay. All right. Any other issues? Otherwise, we'll open it to the public comment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, public comment, yeah.
I'd like to change the dog officer's title to animal control officer. Is there a second?
Is there a second on the dog officer to animal control?
He doesn't only chase down dogs.
I'll second.
He's into a lot more than dogs.
Can't catch a cat. Can't catch him.
Just a more modern.
Under discussion, I've never seen a dog officer catch a cat.
How about his pen?
I've seen that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
My only comment on that would be, I just want to take a look at the bylaw to see how it is in the bylaw, because if it's in the bylaw, that may be a bylaw change, so we may need to go through a different process to do that. So I didn't know the issue was coming up, otherwise I would have brought my bylaw with me, but for the next meeting, if you want to discuss that.
So we'll
we
look at the
can go through.
canine officer's official title.
That could be,
But even then, that's kind of narrow. You know, teeth. So Dennis, you'll get back to us with the
Yeah,
ability.
if it's in the bylaw, then it would probably be a bylaw change, which we could just add another article if you wanted
It's
to do that.
probably something back at the turn of the century that they absolutely focused in on, and said just dogs.
Dogs, go after anything.
all right, so.
We'll table, motion, or withdraw your motion?
Make a motion to table.
I withdraw myself.
Okay. And we'll address it next week.
Thank you.
It was nice that you're trying to make it
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah.
Very good.
Animal control.
Animal control.
I like it, Dan. That sounded good.
Okay.
21st
Any other public comment?
No.
No? Any public comment from the audience? Being none? Went to executive session under Article 3.
I make a motion.
Contract negotiations for NIPRO. With the TIF agreement, I should say. Yes. Roll call vote. Mark?
Aye.
Mary Rose?
Aye.
Stephen, recusing himself. Dino?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. When we come out of, we have 2 executive sessions. When we come out of executive session, we'll just be signing some things I'm sure Michael will bring forward for us tonight.
Yeah, I think they're floating around.
Have they been floating around?
Yeah, behind you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, that badly attired gentleman sitting